Said I'm all about it. Yeah.
I mean, I think the assumption is like everyone who applies for a job at Sir or Pump or just works there like wants to be on the show. Was that ever like a goal of for either of you?
So
No.
they
No.
actually,
But yeah.
they reached out to us. They've reached out to us now 3 times, and we denied every time. We're like, no, reality TV is not for us. I talked to Sheena about it. Like, I just feel like I don't want to show, like, the good is fun because we can control that on YouTube and in the podcasting world and whatever the case is. But I don't want to show the bad and the ugly. I don't want to go on a reality show and then all of a sudden you have one just shitty drunk moment where it's like they're over serving you. And then all of a sudden you're just like that disaster meme. You know what I mean?
Well, relationships don't always do well on reality TV, especially Vanderpump Rules, as we were seeing. So that was one thing that we were kind of
And you don't get paid
hesitant about.
So you don't actually know. And the first time I actually auditioned for the show, it was for season 2, and still had a girlfriend at the time because I was trying to figure out life. I just moved from Tennessee, and I was like, I have a girlfriend, and she was like runner-up Miss California who was working as a host there. And then she's like, let's go with this narrative. And we were kind of hanging out, but I was like, this is weird. It doesn't feel right. And then on the day of the interview, I found out that she hooked up with Jax. And I'm like, fuck this. I can't do this shit. This is annoying. Like, you're supposed to be my beard and you're over here screwing this guy. What's going on? So,
You know what's so funny is because I managed Pump, and when we would get like a bartender or a server, my first question was always, do you know who Lisa Vanderpump is? Do you watch the show? I think out of the dozens of interviews I've done, and I don't know why specifically at Pump this happened, no one knew. No one. But I hear when people go to Sir, or when we were hiring for TomTom, everybody knew the show. Why Pump? I don't know.
I heard that Schwartz and Sandy right now, they're gearing up for a new show for their bar. So I'm curious to see how true this would be. One of my friends, his roommate just auditioned for it, which that's the thing is like, if you're auditioning for the show, the reason Vanderpump Rules was so successful in the beginning was because they were like this big incestuous friend group that actually knew each other. But now if we're going to take a bunch of randoms and stick them together, I'm curious to see how that would work.
Yeah, totally. Wait, I feel like we like glossed over the fact that you guys said no to it. And like also because you wanted to preserve your relationship. That's really sweet. I just wanted to say that. That's very, very sweet.
Oh no, thank you. Yeah, no. I mean,
I feel like there's so many guys in LA, especially gay guys in LA, who would be like, sign me up, like fuck the relationship. I want to be famous.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that would not have been good. But we did make a mutual decision because after, I mean, I'm not going to lie, right before the pandemic and all of that, we did do an interview because we're like, let's just see. It's been like 7 years for me or 6 years for me since the last time. Maybe some things have changed. And after we did the interview and went through some of the questions and had them kind of almost sit you down like you're in a confessional at Sir, then Jason did it, I did it. And we went over to Tortilla Republic next door and we had a margarita and we talked about it. And we're like, if we get asked, to do a second interview, there's no way. And then we got reached out to for a second interview and we just said, no.
I was like a cold stone rock. I just answered yes or no. Adam went in there and I got to watch him do his like confessional like interview thing. And you were killing it.
I was such a cocky bitch, but I'm not going to lie. That's what I didn't like about it. It made me so they asked me about people and I'm like, this bitch, but I Brandy Glanville'd before I went in because I was nervous and I started taking shots. Remember, your mom was with us, Jason, which is so funny because it's like Evan's Paris Hilton story, except definitely not as cool. But Jason's mom was with us and I was like, I'm going to take a shot. And then I had a glass of champagne before and I'm like, God, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, I can't keep drinking. And then I went in there for the interview and I was like, let's fucking do this. And they were like, oh my God, that was great. And I'm like, I can't just sit here and get wasted. I'm going to look like Kristen Doty. And I love her, but I cannot do that.
This is so interesting, just knowing the whole story, but also interesting because I feel like for so long we've been waiting for full-time gay cast members on Vanderpump Rules. So I love that you said no for your own personal reasons, but like it's kind of gives me chills to know that you guys could have been the groundbreaking gay stars.
Well, actually, to be fair, we had one of my friends, you might know him. His name's Jojo. And
he's on it, right? Yeah.
He's featured a little bit, but what happened was he always runs around, and I love JoJo, like obsessed with. He's so much fun, a big personality. He used to dance at the Abbey. I don't know if he does now. He hosts like a lot of events in West Hollywood, and he would come in and think that he knew what they were asking for on the show. So he'd be like, ew, and start jumping up on the table and twerking and stuff. And they're like, no, we need this to be like kind of natural. And he's like, this is me, natural, like sticking his tongue. And they're like, no, because I think they got really excited that JoJo would be the first, breakout gay cast member, but it just didn't work out that way. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I feel like there's other cast members on that show that might have gay tendencies though. So maybe they do have one. I don't know.
I've never heard of that.
I love the cast. I can't complain about anybody, and the one person I could complain about got fired. It's not Stassi.
It's not Stassi.
And they don't pay you, by the way. They don't pay you your first season. You don't make it's almost like your audition season. And then, the next season you kind of get a little bit more than pennies. It's not till like season 3 and 4 that you're on that you start really making the bucks.
That's so crazy. And then I feel like say like you did say yes to doing that first season and you're making no money, in addition to putting in all those hours filming the show, you probably also would feel this pressure to like hustle and get those brand partnerships. And like, then you're spread so thin.
Yeah. Like
that doesn't sound so fun.
No, that's why. So I don't know if you remember, but Max Boyens, who joined season 8. Yeah, he was my manager, and he would come in, he would film all day, or sometimes his, one of the other managers would have to cover for him at night. And then he would come in at night after filming all day, and he'd be like, oh, I've been filming all day. And I'm like, at least you're getting paid. And that's when I found out that I think he got somewhere like around $3,000 for the entire season. And then he's like, shit, but it's in the long run, this is going to work out and be good for me, because he really was genuinely best friends with the Toms, and he's going over to their $2 million homes. And he's like, oh, this is what I could eventually have. But then of course, cue pandemic, tweets resurfacing, and
Hollywood expectations.
Yeah.